Yep.
Hi everyone, welcome to Busybird Publishing. My name is Blaze.
And my name is Les.
It is Wednesday morning. I don't know where the week goes. It goes so fast. Today we have a few things we're going to talk about, but the idea of this session every week, about 15 minutes worth I guess, is just to give you some tips in terms of publicising yourself and your book, and in the hope that you will sell more books and make more money from your writing. So first of all, we're going to talk about a couple of books that have come in. So here we have Colour Outside the Lines by Bernie Goulding. Now this is hot off the press. When did we get this? Friday, Thursday? Late last week.
No idea. Friday?
Anyway, so it came in late last week. It has lots of... Bernie is an Australian, but she's from the Pacific Islands. So she has some experience about racism and what it's like to live in a world where she feels different to other people. And she has lots of great photos in here. I don't know if you'll be able to see these. Probably should hold it up for a bit longer. Okay. And also her daughter has done lots of illustrations, which are awesome as well. Now I won't be able to find those.
I'll find them, you talk.
So this book is a really good example of, I guess if you have a message to share and you want to make some changes, which is what Bernie's wanting to do. So it's actually, the subtitle is One Girl, Two Tribes. And, obviously Bernie is wanting to start a conversation about, racism and community and lots of things like that. So I highly recommend you check that out. Hot off the press. So well done for Bernie for getting that out. Now last week we were talking about repackaging books in order to give them a new life. So our young adult novel called Pride is now Song of the Curlew, and it has been repackaged into a smaller actual physical book and with a new cover and slight changes to the content in order to make it for a younger audience, because we are wanting to have it in schools. And it is actually, not ironically, but interestingly, there is a lot of talk about community and racism in this book. This is more of a coming of age book, and it's a novel. So there's ways that you can open up conversations with fiction as well as in non-fiction in terms of talking about community, talking about friendships and racism and all of those sorts of things. So we're not actually releasing this for a few months. We're going to try and get it into schools with the view of, I think, the 1st of June release.
Yep.
Yep. So I think the cover is really striking anyway.
She's on who made the cover.
And not because I made it.
Oh,
but
okay.
it's very striking. What do you think?
I think it is very striking. There's no one out of shot holding a gun to my head.
So the topic we were wanting to talk about today, because last week we were talking about ways to increase your profile, or leverage your profile, or to get in front of people in order to sell more books. And one of those is actually presenting to people about whatever it is your topic is, what your book is about, author talks within schools or communities or through council or bookshops or whatever, trying to find as many opportunities to get in front of people. What sort of opportunities have you had in front of people, Les? Where have you spoken?
So, I have spoken on Busybird TV, writers' festivals, workshops, radio stations. Did I do a newspaper? I don't think I actually did a newspaper. Did I? I don't recall. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, so radio stations.
Lots of library talks.
Oh, library talks, yeah, I forgot about those.
Libraries are actually really open to having people come and talk about different topics, whether it's just an author talk, about the writing practice or about what their book is about, depending on the topic, obviously.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's always other opportunities. It depends also if you have a subject-specific book. For example, if you walked Camino, like someone I know, you might appeal to groups that do walks. Thanks to Shell, who's just out of shot, who came up with that. She's waved. Yeah, in visual medium, you're out of shot. Go on.
When it comes to, when you first started to get up in front of people to talk about your writing,
yeah,
did you find it hard, or
Yeah,
have you always been pretty confident?
No, I was never confident. I was petrified initially because we studied about 100 years ago, and it was a prerequisite. You had to do a public reading. You had to do, I think, 2 a year.
Yeah.
And some of the classes also required you to present in front of the entire class, and I was petrified.
And it really goes with the territory now, doesn't it?
Yeah. So now if you're a writer, you're going to have to be out there talking about your book and trying to sell to the market. But the one thing I remember was we had a industry overview, the class is called, which was pretty much the bulk of the course was in it. And a student had to present on a certain topic weekly. Or there was a couple of students that present. But anyway, I was going up to present. I was very worried, but I just didn't show it because too many people get worried and then they tell themselves all the negative things like, I'm going to fail, people are going to make fun of me, what happens if I screw up, and all that sort of stuff. And back then I told myself the opposite. I said, no, you're going to be great, not just good, you're going to be great and all that. And I remember talking to one of the other women in the who was going to present that day also, and she was sitting in the hallway hyperventilating, and she said, I knelt down by her and I said, you okay? And she goes, I'm just really nervous about doing this. I go, you'll be fine. She goes, we can't all be as confident as you, Les. And this is like one of the first times I presented, and I just was as petrified as her. I just wasn't showing it and giving into it. So
the thing is too, most of the time, the people in the audience want you to succeed.
Yeah.
It's pretty rare that they actually would, they wouldn't want you to actually be bad or embarrass yourself. So they're there, they're
unless
supportive.
you're at Donald Trump.
Or
Really.
unless you're at, maybe a comedy show where they do heckle people.
Yeah, but that's always going to be a minority. Most people
Yeah.
want you to succeed, and people who don't want you to succeed are just,
Mean.
Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to find something that wasn't going to be profanity. So, most people will be sympathetic if you mess up or something like that. You got to think about when people go to these, wherever it's a library talk or whatever it's going to be, they're going to be entertained, educated, and all that.
Yeah.
So they want to see you do well.
So would you say fake it till you make it to a certain degree?
Oh, I say fake it forever. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, it is, because there'll be times, for whatever reason, you just won't be in the right headspace. You'll be tired. You might have other stuff going on in your life. So it's like I always tell people, you have your personal identity. When you go up and speak in front of people, you have a professional identity, and that's like a character you create to step into.
Yeah.
So it's like acting. You go, that's the person I'm going to be. So I mean, I know a lot of speakers who are introverts. I mean, you say you're an introvert.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of speakers who are introverts and have to push themselves, but they push themselves by actually creating that identity that they can step into. And for that time that they're up there, they're great.
Yeah.
And then once they step off, then they go immediately back into that personal identity.
Yeah, well, the first time I got up in front of people was probably maybe 15 years ago. I was petrified. I don't think I would have remembered my name if you asked me.
Yeah.
My mouth was dry, my knees were shaking, and I got through it. And because of all of that anxiety and energy that I felt before, I kind of vowed to myself that any opportunity that I had to get in front of people, I would do it. And I have done it, and now I don't really think about it so much. I mean, I still sometimes get nervous, but most of the time I don't.
Well, I think if you actually break it down, when you present in front of people, it's no different to presenting to an empty room. The actual practice is the same. You're presenting. You got your material, you're presenting.
Yep.
That's the same. The environment changes. So now you put people in front of it. Now the people aren't doing anything to make you fail. You're actually putting the pressure on yourself to succeed, because you're saying, oh, now people are watching. What if I mess up?
Yeah.
So you actually put that pressure on yourself. It's not them.
Yeah.
It's always your mindset when you actually go out there. So if you have more of a mindset of, look, whatever happens, happens.
And what's the worst that can happen?
Well, someone throws a tomato at you. Not, you know, it's one of these things that there's nothing really horrific that can happen that's going to scar you for life or anything. There's a lot worse things going on in the world than you messing up during a presentation or a reading or something like that.
Yeah. I also think too, when you're talking about something that's really important for you, something that's coming from the heart, I find that that's much easier to talk about.
Yeah.
Do you find that as well?
Yeah, well, when you know the topic, obviously you're a lot more passionate about it and you become a lot more eloquent.
Do you find it's helpful to actually write notes or?
I dot point things when I speak and then I just ad-lib from that.
Yeah.
And I'll have a general idea of where I want to go with it.
Yep.
But you know, sometimes you adjust because the audience might be interested in some other aspect of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So if you carefully prepare it and it's not working for whatever reason, and that's when people panic. It's like, geez, they look bored.
Yeah.
What do I say? What do I do? And then they shrivel in on themselves. So you have to be prepared to actually improvise. And we do that with our workshops where, you know, you say it often when we give a workshop. These are the things we plan to cover, but if there's something specific you want to go into, let us know and we'll look at that a lot more.
Yeah.
Because you just don't know what the audience wants.
Yeah. So at Busybird, we're always offering, you know, help for people in terms of their whole writing practice, not just the writing, but the publishing and presentation. So we are offering a whole series of workshops this year with Claire D. Now, Claire D is someone who actually works with creatives to present themselves. And I think she's doing a lot of comedy stuff this year, and she's having a taster tonight at Busybird from 7 o'clock, which I'm looking forward to. And that's a bit of a taster to see what her other offerings are going to be throughout the year. So I think she's going to be starting up a monthly meetup group. So tonight is the first one of that, and then there's going to be two-day weekend workshops throughout the year. So I think that'll be really helpful. And
she's, you know, if people haven't seen her, she is charismatic and engaging, and she commands the audience when she goes out and speaks.
Yep. So the series of workshops are called Shine a Light on Your Industry or In Your Industry. So that should be good.
Is it on or in?
In.
Oh no, that's just totally different.
Shine a light in on. I'll have to check with Claire.
I would have done it if it was on, but now it's in.
The other thing that we do and have been doing for 6 years is our open mic night.
6 years.
We've done 60 open mic nights so far. So the first one next month will be 61 on the 20th of February. So the third Wednesday of every month from 7 o'clock we have open mic night, and that is where people can come put their name down and read some of their work.
Or they can just come and watch, because
some people
I think some people don't actually come because they think that it's compulsory that they read.
Yeah.
You can just sit in the audience. Or if you come in February, our intern Sam is going to be reading.
Thanks. And I think even if you don't read, I think you would learn something, because you learn about whatever the content people are reading about, but you also learn about the different ways you can present, because there's usually, 12 to 15 people who are actually up here.
And you got a lot of variation. So, you know, you have Gay Miller, who's a fantastic poet, very self-deprecating humour. Richard Trembar, another poet, he could seriously read the shopping list and make it sound compelling, the way he presents so well. Shell's favourite, Marcello, you know, always talks about history and poetry. So you have a lot of variation in presenters, so you can actually see how people do it, and then you just can cannibalise what works for you.
Yep. So we have, is this going to be on our website? Is this actually on our website?
It's already on the website. It's always on the website.
So we've got
or you
our
can come in and
dates
get
for
the
year.
flyer.
We have a flyer. Yeah, that's good, Les. Okay. So we have the date. So the 20th of Feb is the first one for the year. We have, so every month up until November, and November is usually our
Christmas party,
and where we announce...
And Sam's reading at the Christmas party.
And may be long gone by then. We may
She'll
have
be
scared
back and
her
ready.
away.
She's ready.
And in November, we actually announce our fellowship. So in October or September, we open up our fellowship so people can apply.
Yeah, and congratulations to David Murray, who's the fellow for Vicia.
Yep.
And a shout out to Angus Watson, who finished his novel and gave it to me to read earlier, well, actually late last year, and I finished it early this year. And I actually think a lot of people can learn from Angus's dedication and perseverance, because he could have easily, he won the fellowship, what was it, 2016?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That was the first one.
yeah, so I'm just trying to remember if that was the first year. But he constantly was revising, and he did not give me his book until he was ready for it to be seen.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people just go, yeah, here's the second draft.
Yeah.
Look at it for me.
Well, and also they think that it's ready at that
Yeah.
stage.
And Angus, he got feedback from myself and his other readers, so like he's surrounded himself with other writers. And he told me the other day, he goes, really excited to get back into it and to look at it now through other people's eyes and address what they've seen.
Mm.
So, I mean, it's a really great example of someone who shows dedication, perseverance, and takes writing seriously.
Yep, it's really good. And so David is very early on in his novel.
Yep.
And we have given him the task of completing his novel this year. I think he looked a little bit freaked out, but I think he's up for the challenge.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
So David was in both my novelling classes actually, because he came late to one. And I know his writing has really improved. I don't know what's the word, exponentially? I don't know. But his writing's really improved. And again, that's because of exposure, and he does things like workshops, and he learns, and he's dedicated.
Yeah. So that's about it for today. We have an open mic night, so don't forget to come along. So that's the 20th of February. Tonight we have Claire D with her taster workshop about presenting your work. And what else? That's enough. We'll see you next week, unless you have something else.
I was going to say, you could mention the Bali retreat really quickly.
Oh yes, our Bali retreat it's really hotting up in terms of people being interested in that. We only have 10 spots. So if you are interested in writing and publishing your book in 2019, you better get in quick. So that is going to be in June in Bali. It's going to be awesome.
Well done. And that's it, so
Bye.
see ya.